talk about digital health, bioelectronics. I remember somebody mentioned that word to me. I thought, what does that have to do with anything? It is the promise of leveraging the body's circuitry to treat disease. Well, our next speaker just received one of Time Magazine's top 100 innovations of 2019. Say hello to Jennifer Ernst, the CEO of Typic Health.
Thank you. You're welcome. Good afternoon. I'm here to talk to you about a field of medicine that many of you may not even have heard of yet. And yet, it is a field of medicine that Sue Siegel, the Chief Innovation Officer of GE, calls the next omic. Proteomics, genomics, the next system that we need to decode to unlock for medicine. Galvani, Google, and GSK, 785 million committed to advance the field, and every major pharmaceutical company is currently investing. McKinsey recently called this the under-recognized multi-billion-dollar opportunity set to become a pillar of medical treatment. And I would say Time Magazine was the first to bring it to mainstream media with an article entitled, "It's Time to Take Electronic Medicine Seriously." This is the area of bioelectronic medicine. So I want to highlight that the use of electricity in medical treatment is certainly not new. Pacemakers, standard in cardio care, deep brain stimulators, now in regular use for the management of Parkinson's, essential tremors, and spinal cord implants, which are used to block pain signaling for chronic pain. Now, similar approaches are used for epilepsy, for depression, even for managing overactive bladder. All of these, though, require an implant of a device and leads run to a specific target, whether that be the heart, whether that be into the cortex of the brain, or to the spinal stem attached to near the spinal implant. So the use of medicine is not new, but how we are using it is. Bioelectronics combines three key areas. The first is neuroscience in the form of neural pathways. The second is our growing understanding of molecular mechanisms so that we can use electricity to target molecular mechanisms the same way pharmaceutical companies do. And third is electronics. Now, nowhere is it more evident than at CES, the progress of electronics to become smaller, more powerful, and ever cheaper. These factors combined to launch a new industry. Now, SetPoint is really was the pioneer in the industry, and this is a company based on the work of Kevin Tracy. Kevin Tracy will likely win a Nobel Prize for this work. He initially discovered as a neurosurgeon that by treating inflammation in the brain, you could actually see inflammation relieved all the way through the body system, but nobody understood why. His discovery was that the vagal nerve was transmitting signals to the spleen and for the production of inflammatory cytokines. So the spleen is managed through this neural pathway. SetPoint is creating an implant that is placed directly on the vagal nerve, sends a message down the same pathway. So Kevin Tracy tried it in mice initially and said, instead of using chemistry to generate an electrical signal, I want to put the electrical signal directly on the nerve itself, and it worked. So they have run clinical trials. The results from their patient trials are that it's revolutionary, and patients say it changes their lives. Chronic pain that has been there for decades resolves in weeks. This is a technology from Naya Therapeutics. It monitors brain functionality and adaptively stimulates centers of the brain to restore brain function. So this is a closed-loop system in which you're actually looking at the function of the brain and inducing the non-functional portions to work better. Almost 20% improvement in function in their first clinical trials. Now, this is the device for overactive bladder. It's very much like the pacemaker approach. Put a device in, run the leads to the target site on the nerve. This is a device coming from FemPulse that does exactly the same thing. So rather than running leads up to the nerve through an implant, they're using the neural pathways. The device is placed against the cervix. The neural pathways from that area intervene on the same signaling path. But guess what? A woman can insert this or remove it without a surgeon present. And remember our guy with the deep brain stimulators, the probes in the middle of his head? This is a device from Kala Therapeutics that does exactly the same thing. You wear this on the wrist, it activates through the neural pathway up to the brain, the motion center, and the tremors, you turn it on, they stop. And what's really cool is because you're monitoring on the wrist, you can actually adapt the treatment to the tremor because you're at the site where the incident is happening. Migraines have been a big area for target. I want to point out, too, the one on the lower left corner is a closed-loop stimulation device, nodes at the front and the back of the head, and then a cloud system that modulates the treatment. And then the one I really like is the one from Theranica on the arm. You can imagine that's going to be a lot easier to wear around in daily life than the thing sitting on the head. Exact same effects, though. Stimulation of nerve fibers to disrupt the pain signals and the pain centers in the brain that create the migraine headaches. Now, where we're headed. This is work from the Feinstein Institute. They have been contracted to develop an artificial pancreas. The signals up here are signals that change in response to glucose. So you would consider this the monitoring part. How high is the blood glucose level based on neural signals? I am convinced, however, that within the next decade, we will identify the signals that induce the pancreas to excrete insulin. So at that point, it's no longer an artificial pancreas. It's using a bioelectronic solution with feedback to induce your own pancreas to function correctly. Okay, so far I've shown you 4 major things happening in bioelectronic medicine, maybe a field you'd never heard of before I started. First is stimulation of the target, from going from direct stimulation to using neural pathways to stimulate. Second is using mechanistic targeting, rather than having a non-specific charge around an area. Going from implanted to non-invasive, and going from open loop to closed loop. Which brings me to why we're here at CES, because we're at the tip of another big wave. Everything I have shown you requires a prescription. Our device does not. We are exhibiting at Eureka Park. This is a handheld neuromodulation bioelectronic unit for sinus relief. 60 million people in the US suffer. It's used on the facial skin and stimulates the nerves that go into the sinus passages. Yes, we have published clinical studies. It works fabulously. Come by the booth and I'll be happy to tell you more about it. It is consistent with a lot of these technologies in that we have a much better safety and risk profile than the pharmaceutical solutions. So we're showing efficacy as good as or better than most pharmaceuticals, but with no significant side effects. The worst we see is about 3% of people get a mild reddening of the skin that goes away in 15 minutes. We launched in September. We are shipping. We're getting great customer reviews, and our CE mark is available, but most importantly, it's available without a prescription. A bioelectronic device without a prescription. We're using the neural pathways, the signaling from the nerves at the skin to pass, basically using them like wires to get to the sinus passages. We're targeting molecular mechanisms. The frequencies we use have been shown to induce norepinephrine production in the sinus passages. And obviously, we're using very miniaturized electronics to create a portable handheld device. We've gotten a little bit of attention. We are exhibiting at Eureka Park, so if you'd like to learn more about bioelectronics or about ClearUp, we'd love to have you come by. We'd also love to have you come to the Last Gadget Standing Contest, where we are a finalist and we need tons of audience cheers in order to win. Shameless pitch, I know. So in closing, I just want to leave you with a thought that is one of my favorites. The future is already here. It just isn't uniformly distributed. So scientists have been working on these for the last couple decades. It's really now starting to hit the mainstream. And what I'm excited about is these major transitions that will make a very safe and effective medical field widely accessible to consumers. So the next time you hear about electronic medicine or neural stimulation, I hope that you will understand that it is serious medicine, evidence-based, and here to stay. Thank you.